Hello and welcome to Vision of Asia, the news you can trust and events that move and celebrate our very own South Asian community. I'm Nidhi Kathuria coming to you from our ITV Gold studio in New Jersey. In the headlines today, hundreds gather in central Toronto in support of Freedom Convoy. Bappi Lahiri, the disco king of Bollywood, dies at 69. Legendary Bengali singer Sandhya Mukherjee passes away. Golden Jubilee and Sankranti festival celebrated by Chicago-based Vidyaranya Kannada Kutta. Made in India perfume launched in New York. Stay with us on Vision of Asia for news in detail right after this short break. Hundreds of protesters gathered in Toronto on Tuesday in support of the ongoing Freedom Convoy blockade in Ottawa. A trucker-led movement calling on the government to lift vaccine mandates has occupied parts of downtown Ottawa since late January and blocked U.S. border crossings, inspiring similar protests around the world even as Canada moves to lift some health restrictions. Footage captured in Ontario legislative grounds showed a jubilant atmosphere as protesters blasted loud music and waved the Canadian flag. Many also carried placards critical of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for introducing a vaccine mandate for truckers and other COVID-19 measures. Trudeau on Monday, February 14th, took the unprecedented step of invoking the Emergencies Act to give his government enhanced authority in response to the anti-vaccine mandate protests gripping Canada.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations.
Ironically, this is the same Prime Minister Trudeau who was vocal about supporting the farmer protest in India. In Canada, there are thousands of truckers who are Sikhs and Punjabis and are part of the convoy and staging a peaceful protest and labelled as terrorists by the Canadian government. Even the act of donating or feeding these peaceful protesters is seen as a criminal act. We have gathered some clips from Twitter and Instagram of the protest, including that of Nick Motichka, who speaks out against political policing.
Hi, my name is Gurtek Singh. I'm from London, Ontario, and I'm here for my freedom and my rights. I love my freedom and my liberty as much as everybody does. And I hate a government telling me what to do with force. That's all I'm here for. It's about choice. It's not about vaccines. And we are all together. We are all Canadians. We are all truckers. Go ahead, trucker. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Nick Motichka. I'm a police officer currently with the Calgary Police Service. I've been with Calgary for just a little over 10 years, and prior to that I was with the RCMP for approximately 6 years. I just wanted to read something that I wrote this evening. Today was a hard day for me. Something was taken away from me that I can never get back. Watching members of the Ottawa Police Service seize fuel from peaceful protesters took away a long-held belief that I thought to be a lasting truth. And that is that the police are here, when push really comes to shove, to protect and help people. I will never see my profession in the same light than I did before today. What I saw was the police doing politicians' dirty work, like hired goons. This goes against every reason why I chose this mostly thankless, difficult, traumatizing career with terrible hours. The reason I got into law enforcement was to help people. However naive that was, it is my honest truth. What is happening in Ottawa with the clear political influence on the police to physically exert political will on peaceful protesters for nothing more than possible political gain is so very wrong on so many levels. I was just following orders is no longer an excuse. It is time to stand up and speak out by refusing to breach your fellow citizens' fundamental charter rights. You signed up to help people. Stand with your fellow Canadians and say enough is enough. There is no doubt that we are all part of history right now. I have one question for you. Which side do you want to be on?
Composer Bappi Lahiri, fondly called as Bapida, was the pioneer and legend of disco in the Bollywood of the 80s and 90s, died in a hospital in Mumbai last night at the age of 69. He had been in hospital for a month being treated for multiple health issues and died of sleep apnea. A statement from his family reads, "It's a deeply sad moment for us. Our beloved Bapida has left for heavenly abode last midnight." A statement from his family reads, "It's a deeply sad moment for us. Our beloved Bapida has left for heavenly abode last midnight. The cremation will take on arrival of Bappa from LA tomorrow mid-morning. We are seeking love and blessings for his soul." Tributes for Bapida flooded in as soon as the news of his demise broke. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, "Music was all-encompassing, beautifully expressing diverse emotions. People across generations could relate to his works. His lively nature will be missed by everyone." Filmmaker Subhash Ghai tweeted, "Lahiri created a difference with his music. A noble, talented master is no more, but his music is with us." Actor-producer Akshay Kumar tweeted, "Today, we lost another gem from the music industry. Bapida, your voice was the reason for millions to dance, including me. Thank you for all the happiness you brought through your music." Bapida composed super-hit music tracks for films such as Disco Dancer, Dance Dance, Chalte Chalte, and Namak Halal. He also had extensive music credits in the world of Bengali cinema. He sang several of his own compositions, among them Koi Yahan Nache Nache from Disco Dancer and Pyar Bina Chain Kahan Re from Sahib. Bapida was always seen adorning his gold chains and sunglasses. Just 2 days before his death, he had shared a throwback monochrome picture of him on his Instagram where he can be seen dressed in his signature style with sunglasses on, bracelets and gold chain. He captioned the picture as "old as gold." Bapida is survived by his wife, son Bappa, and daughter Reema. Sandhya Mukherjee passed away on the evening of February 15th following a massive cardiac arrest. She was 91. Mukherjee has left behind millions of mourning fans of all ages across borders. Mourning Mukherjee's death, Mamata Banerjee wrote, "Deeply saddened that Geeta Shri Sandhya Mukhopadhyay, the Queen of Melody in Bengal, is no more. Her departure creates an eternal void in our world of music and in the hearts of millions of her followers here and in the diaspora." Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina extended her condolences and sent a message to PM Modi recalling her contribution in Liberation War of Bangladesh. During the Liberation War, Sandhya Mukherjee raised awareness about refugees' crisis amid Pakistani atrocities in 1971 in the East Pakistan. She was one of the first foreign artists to visit Dhaka after independence of the country in 1971. Mukherjee became the voice of an era of romance where stars like Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen ruled the matinee lights. Mukhopadhyay has sung for innumerable Bengali and Hindi films and has worked with leading music directors including S.T. Burman, Madan Mohan, Naushad, Anil Biswas, and Salil Chaudhary. The singer, of the recipient of the Bangla Bibhushan and National Film Award for Best Female Playback Singer, had refused an offer of a Padma Shri award when she was contacted by central government officials on the phone for her consent before Republic Day this year. She is survived by her daughter and son-in-law. Legislative Assembly elections are being held in Uttar Pradesh from February 10th to 7th of March in 7 phases. We came across an interesting opinion in a digital print of The Wire. The views do not reflect that of ITV Gold, but we felt it is important to share with our viewers so that there is a clear understanding, perhaps a balance and not a bias of opinion in public. In an interview where he has stuck his neck out to predict the outcome of the Uttar Pradesh elections, former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi Najib Jung has said that he is certain the Bharatiya Janata Party will lose and will not form the new government. Jung also says the Samajwadi Party and its allies will comfortably cross 202 seats and get a majority of their own. They will form a government without any need of support from other parties. Jung, who is also a former Vice-Chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia, identified 4 critical reasons why the BJP is heading towards the defeat in UP. The most important, he said, is the fact that Narendra Modi is not the face of BJP campaign, but in his place, the party is being fronted by Yogi Adityanath. Jung said if Modi had been the face, the outcome could have been different. The other adverse factors working against the BJP identified by Jung are resentment and anger against the farm laws and the widespread problem of stray cows, unemployment, which said is perhaps greater in UP than other states, has particularly affected young male adults, and the chaotic and inept handling of COVID-19 and the trauma it created, which has not been forgotten. Jung also said that Adityanath's campaign and speeches have not responded adequately to the concerns of UP voters, while his attempts to polarize the electorate is working. This year, Vidyaranya Kannada Kutta is reaching a milestone in its history, celebrating its Golden Jubilee. Founded in 1972 by just a few families, VKK is now the only organization in the Chicago area which serves the cultural, educational, charitable, and networking needs of the Kannada-speaking population. There was a special message from the Consulate General of India in Chicago conveyed by Counsel for Press, Information and Culture, Ranjit Singh, congratulating the organization during the festival and for the Golden Jubilee celebration. The highlight of the celebration was the release of a theme song and emblem to mark the Golden Jubilee occasion. This was produced by eminent Kannada actor, director, theatre personality T.S. Nagabharana. The event also featured a live saxophone performance from India by Vidwan Sridhar Sagar and his party, engaging the viewers with his multi-genre musical concert. The fundraising event for the long-time friend of India, Congressman Frank Pallone, representing New Jersey's 6th Congressional District since 1988, was organized by influential members of the South Asian community. The event was hosted at Rasoi Restaurant in Edison, New Jersey, and was graced by Viru Patel, appointed Woodbridge Township Councilman in New Jersey, Sam Joshi, the Mayor of Edison, Padma Shri recipient Dr. Sudhir Parekh, Chairman of Parekh Worldwide Media and ITV Gold, amongst others. Let's watch the highlights.
Well, I really am so proud to be representing such a diverse South Asian community. As you know, there's a very large South Asian presence in Middlesex County in the towns that I represent. We're here in Iselin and Woodbridge. And part of the reason why it's significant is because over the years, so many businesses have been thriving and so many jobs have been created because of the presence of the Indian South Asian community. They really revitalized the area. In addition to that, on foreign policy, the United States and India and all the countries in South Asia have grown closer to the United States and become allies. We now have what we call the Quad, which is India, Japan, United States, and Australia. That is a security relationship that's trying to prevent a possible aggression by the Beijing government in China. And so the countries are growing closer together too, which is very important.
I'm here to support Congressman Frank Pallone. I think there's such a great turnout of our community. Frank Pallone has been a congressman for more than 30 years and has been a friend of India for just as long. And people across our community recognize that. And it's such a good thing when he talks about the things that he does for all of us around here, but especially his interest in India and affairs related to India. We are so proud of Congressman Pallone. I hope he's as successful as he has been for the last 3 decades, and we wish him best of luck.
Aristocare Indian Nursing Home provides post-acute inpatient rehabilitation, memory care, and long-term care services. Watch the highlights from my conversation with Mukund Thakur, President at Indian Nursing Home Program, Jocelyn Delgado, Director of Business Development, and Robert Greenberger, Executive Director of Aristocare Health Services.
In my experience, I find out that the people, older people, need comfort, culture, and care. The people come to the nursing home for better life, but because of the language, because of the food, because of the environment, because of the language, they are not really comfort over there, and they come for the really better life, but because of all these things, they are not really happy over there. So it was in my mind, let's do something for the community really need. And I hold the program, Indian Nursing Home Program, and I create the whole Indian environment. I put all the decor and temples and Indian nurse, Indian doctor, Indian food. And we started this program in 2005, and the community liked this program so much. And within less than a year, we have almost like a 52 residents. And then later on, I have continuously people calling me for the Indian program.
We want our better care model includes the concept of we have telemedicine. So we can bring a piece of equipment into the room. You, just like in Star Trek, one of my favorite shows, you beam up Scotty, you beam up the doctor, and the doctor will be able to, literally because of the technology, be able to have a stethoscope, otoscope, and hear them even better than they were. And actually, it's interesting because this idea came up years ago. I was chatting with a physician that does work in India, and he was telling us how they set up, because they have certain rural areas that they cannot have physicians, they set up these makeshift, these little places where physicians can see remotely. And I said, if they could do that in a village in India, why can't I do it by us in America?
So we were fortunate enough to have the top leadership that helped guide us through COVID. I personally was working in a building at the time. It was tough on everyone. It was tough on the residents, the families, the staff. It was especially hard for our residents who couldn't see their families. That closed door, you can no longer come in and see your loved one. Because we have to make sure they remain safe and they don't get sick, because back then, you got COVID, you got really sick. Now we're fortunate to have these vaccines that help us. But we had that closed door policy, so it was especially very difficult for our residents to not see their loved ones and the families. Now with the staff, it was also difficult because, like we've said multiple times, the staff feel like these people are their family members. Mm-hmm. So when they saw some of these people get very sick, and some of them unfortunately pass away, it really hit them so hard. And so we had to rally behind our team to, help them rally behind our residents, and provide that support from the top to really make sure that everyone felt like they were supported, and that translated to the residents. The residents weren't able to come out to activities because, again, we wanted to keep them safe and separate. Mm-hmm. So we brought activities to them in their room as much as possible. We started using FaceTime and Zoom and so on and so forth to connect them with those family members. We were going in constantly to see these residents, whether they had COVID, whether they didn't have COVID. We PP'd up and made mm-hmm. sure that they had FaceTime with people, and that they didn't feel so isolated. So of course there was that isolation because there was that forced isolation, mm-hmm. but we tried to mitigate that as much as possible.
A Made in India perfume from Uttar Pradesh's Kannauj was launched in New York as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav program on Valentine's Day. The launch of the perfume, Vikas Khanna by Zigrana, was unveiled by the Consular General of India in New York, Randhir Jaiswal here. Perfume maker Zigrana said that it is delighted to work with an Indian cultural icon and intrepid entrepreneur Vikas Khanna for their first perfume. This is possibly the first time that you have an Indian perfume from Kannauj, that too at a time when we are celebrating India's 75 years of independence, said Randhir Jaiswal. The new perfume Vikas Khanna by Zigrana is a unique blend of spices like cloves, cardamom, nutmeg, sandalwood, jasmine, and rose, which have come to define the unique smells of India for more than a millennia, the company wrote in a press release. Let's take a look.
Five years ago, I launched a museum of Indian culinary arts, which took me almost 11 years to make, and which has Indian utensils. Exactly what is the story of this perfume? Trying to connect the dots of history, ancient culture, civilizations, our heritage, and bringing it to the world, protecting at least one utensil. Here we're protecting the flavors of spices, flowers, history, heritage in this bottle. I'm really thankful to you, Swapnil. I knew you could do it. And it's not easy working with me sometimes because I get too passionate, and I know that. But this day is dedicated to my dad. And I hope, he used to tell me I have the worst handwriting, and he was right because many people are still reading my signature as Khani. Thankful to all of you for being here on Valentine's Day and such an important day. I see so many important people here who have been a part of my journey and career and life. I really want to thank you all for standing with me when I was falling apart, filling up the gaps, and most important, celebrating with me all my new visions of bringing India to the world. Thank you.
And that's a wrap on Vision of Asia tonight. Send us your suggestions and community news that you would like us to cover for our print and television coverage at events@itvgold.com. Follow us on our Facebook handle at itvgold, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and pick up a free copy of Desi Talk if you're in the Tri-State or in the Chicago area for community news, entertainment, and events in US and India. You can also read the News India Times newspaper online at www.newsindiatimes.com or subscribe to the hard copy by calling 212-675-7515. Thank you and take care.